Political science combined with English language open you to a world of opportunities to analyze and communicate about government, policy, and civic participation through writing, research, and critical thinking. This interdisciplinary approach develops skills to understand complex social issues and express informed perspectives. How does one leverage such a background to join the world of tech in the cloud and product management? In this episode, we sit with Nana Adjoa Anim as she walks us through her transition into tech and how she has occupied different roles since she began. Enjoy today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Big Spark. Big Spark is the UK's fastest growing data solutions consultancy, translating your business needs into data architecture, strategy, and engineering. Together with their technical partners, they focus on swift and efficient business value delivery. Taking an innovative approach to every challenge, Big Spark is an agile team of over 100 world-class engineers and data scientists pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with AI, data, software, cloud, and machine learning. To find out how Big Spark can ignite your data solution, visit us at www.bigspark.dev. Big Spark, igniting change through engineering. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the Tech Surf podcast where we navigate today's tech wave one electrifying conversation at a time. I am your host, Raymond Kluche, and today we have a lady who likes to call herself the dynamic and passionate product manager. Today I have Nana Adjoa to come and have a great discussion around her pivoting careers journey. I wouldn't want to do too much of a long intro. I would just like to get into today's conversation right away. So Nana Adjoa, thank you so much for making time to join today's episode of the Tech Cell podcast.
Yeah. Hello, Ray. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Right,
an
good.
honor to share my story.
Perfect, perfect. I'm sure a lot of people are going to glean from it and learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can, in the shortest amount of time, introduce yourself, your background, who you are, a little bit of everything, and then we can get into the juice of today's conversation.
Right. All right. So my name is Nana Adjoa Anim, and I moved from international affairs. I mean, from a non-technical background into tech way back in 2020. Personally, I like to dance. I mean, when I'm not studying, when I'm not studying, I like to dance because it helps me just release a lot of tension, and I love mentoring people, speaking to people. So yeah, having me here is such a great honor. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. I wish it was a video recording so that we could see a few
Well,
dance moves, but we
yeah,
will save that for later. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your growing up. Obviously from the title, we're talking about pivoting careers from
yeah,
international relations, political science into a rather, into the tech industry. Now let's backtrack a little bit into political science, international relations. Would you say you were one of those who were in the debating club who were like, I'm going to fight for the rights of people, I'm going to do this? So all through that was what your parents thought you were going to do, or it just came, the interest was built
mhm,
up along the way?
yeah. So I would say that I was born into a family of four. The three girls, all of us did general arts. So the normal Ghanaian era, you do the general arts, literature, history.
Mm,
But I was more into the diplomacy side because I wanted to
right,
be a diplomat. I wanted to
right.
help. I mean, part of the UN, help and take away hunger, in the world and all that stuff. So that's where I found myself doing more things, engaging
Right.
in volunteering activities and all that before I made the move. So I'll say that I grew up into it because that's what I was used to, but
Mm,
joining political science actually gave me a different view of helping people, and that's how I got into international affairs, which I think we'll talk
mm,
about like later on. Yeah.
right. Okay. So you did general arts. Probably I'm sure it's history. It was
Mm-hmm.
in there, here and there. Then you're choosing a course. You come to university and then you're choosing what you want to study.
Yeah.
Why did you zone into political science?
All right. So, to be very honest, I'll say I didn't really have an option. I know like an option. I didn't know what I wanted to really do coming out of
Mm,
SHS. And because I had
mm,
done like general arts, I didn't want to do law. I mean, so I just chose. So political science was more of my first choice. I'll say that at that time I was just choosing something that will like an easy to go something for me, like more like that. So that's how I got into political science.
mm.
And then but then I did English as well, so I just wanted
Okay.
to be able to do like communicate and speak to people and all that. So I did political science with English.
Mm.
That's how come I got into political science.
All right.
So
And political science with English, maybe
mm,
you were thinking about joining the National Keiko.
maybe
Maybe that was the,
yeah,
so
you
tell
can
me,
yeah.
yeah, so tell me like what was like the end goal for you reading political science and English?
Right. Yeah. So reading political science and English, like I said, for English, I wanted to be more of like communicator. For political science, that's where my passion for international affairs grew.
Mm,
So I wanted to
mm,
be a diplomat because I did
okay.
a course in international affairs and I was so
Mm,
excited about
mm,
it. So that's
mm,
what the end goal was, to be a diplomat, travel around the
mm,
world, help
mm,
people and all that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
And okay, that's fine. That's fine. And
mm.
along the line, did you by any chance do any IT course when you were in university? Did you go for any boot camp? Where did all of a sudden the interest in tech, spring from?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for that because I get that question a lot. Funny enough, I never did IT when I was in SHS. I mean, when I was in the university, I actually zoomed into tech in 2020 October during the lockdown, right? And
Okay.
everybody was, I mean, home. We didn't have anything to do,
Right.
and I've always wanted to learn something else. I mean, move into tech,
Mm.
but the I don't like maths. Let me put it that way. So, sometimes like you hear tech and you're seeing the code and everything, you're like, no, this is
Right.
me here. But I remember I saw the AWS Restart program and I wanted to
Mm.
hop on. A friend sent it to me, so let me use the word, I casually applied because I thought, I mean, I might not get in, but I went through and I had my first class on 19th October. I love to
Mm.
keep dates. That's how I got there. Yeah.
Mm. All right. So coming
Mm,
from a non-tech background,
yeah.
two backgrounds that are very heavy on talking and English language. So English language is an ingredient in your international relations
Yes. Yes.
work, right? How was that shift for you? Because COVID, I'm
Mm,
sure COVID was a good time for a lot of people to learn skills, but
yeah.
I know that sometimes getting into tech it's not a very straightforward path, especially for people who have not done anything that is very tech related. How was that for you? What did you start with?
Yeah. So, like I said, I started off with the
Mm,
AWS Restart program.
mm,
I would say that it really wasn't easy because at that time I was combining my masters, doing my thesis, and then this
mm,
course. It
mm,
wasn't easy for me at all. But then what helped me was it was more like a structured class where you go for a virtual class from morning to evening. And
mm,
trust me, my first class, I don't know what I learned. I didn't learn anything
mm,
because I was
mm,
scared. We had people from different places that had really learned a lot and had the tech skill, but it was difficult. Like, let me just be honest,
mm,
it was,
mm,
but I leveraged networking people in my class. I mean, messaging people to help me understand this. I mean, Python,
mm,
I don't get it. Help me and
mm,
all that. So that's how I was
mm.
able to pull through. Yeah. At a point, I had a mental breakdown. I took 3 days off and I just came
Oh
back.
wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that because people don't really talk about mental health
Yeah.
in the tech
Yeah.
space and how one goal for my podcast is for people to see the humanity part of tech because
Yeah. Yeah.
people like to talk about tech and talk about it as if it's heaven on earth, the
And
the
money.
money, the money, the MacBook Pro, the everything and everything, but no one talks about the lonely days, you being behind a bug and everything. Let's talk a little bit about your mental health and
Mm,
especially the bar of entry into tech being high,
yeah.
especially I know it's quite saturated at the moment. How
Yeah.
did you navigate that? What did you have to get some form of counseling, or you just were open with your mentors or your friends? Yeah.
Mhm. Right, right. So I remember during that time I was combining my masters with this, and you write your thesis, your supervisor has to
Mm,
mark it. And I remember the last my chapter three, my supervisor just returned it with, I'll just say the whole work was cancelled. I was like,
Mm.
what? That was when I knew that something was up.
Right.
I
Right.
felt that evening I really cried myself to sleep because I was confused that is this master's worth it or is this tech worth it? Because even for the tech, you're not even assured of a job afterwards, right? But at least for the international affairs, I've had some travel experience with these in relation to that, right? So
Mm.
I was really down, and especially going into class and seeing Greek. I mean, when I mean Greek, not
Yeah,
understand
literally.
what is being
Right.
taught, right? So I leveraged my instructors were very helpful. I spoke to them, and then we had a career coach. I spoke to my
Mm.
career coach as well,
Mm.
and then a couple of friends I had made in the class. I just spoke to them, told them how I was feeling, and honestly, the break I took was not my idea, and trust me, it was something I felt like I didn't know I needed. So my one
Mm.
of my instructors told me, "All right, I'm going to give you 3 days off. Don't come to class. I mean, just take
Mm.
the 3 days off, reset, talk to your lecturer about it, everything, and then come back." So then I took that 3 day off. I wasn't going to class, and trust
Mm.
me, it helped me so much just to be able to realign my values, what I wanted to do, get a whole understanding of what is expected of me. I think one issue that caused this thing was I was taking in too much,
Mm.
trying to make it all at once. And I think that's one thing people moving into tech must understand. You can't get it within 3 months, right?
Mm.
And I was just like second month into it, and I was trying to get everything. That's what confused me and made me, I mean, just break down and all that. But yeah, in the end, it felt good. Yeah.
Mm. All right. So on the back of, having gone through such a very critical time, on your mental health and everything, let's talk about the skills that, make you the product manager that
Mm,
you are today.
mm,
And maybe let's talk a little bit about empathy. How has, having come from a background that is
yeah.
not tech, now you're currently a product manager. We'll delve into more of the details of what your work is. But let's talk,
Yeah.
because since you brought the conversation around
Yeah.
mental health, how has that, played a role in your work as a product manager today?
Right. So I think my previous experiences in volunteering has helped a lot, especially in the international relations phase, because I got to work with a lot of people
Mm.
from different background, and especially working with people to build solutions. International affairs are trying to, how do we solve poverty? How do we solve this?
Mm.
And then you get to be on the field. At least from my
Mm.
experience, you get to be on the field. You get to
Mm.
understand how these people are feeling. You get to travel
Mm.
to remote places, right? Just to
Mm.
understand how things are going. So for me, I think that's what has helped me have empathy when I'm building as a product manager, because
Mm.
I understand the need of building what people actually need, and not just building something actually very like fancy and all that. So just having the people in mind, having their needs at heart, even from an international standpoint, international affairs standpoint, to
Mm.
product management has been like a game changer for me. It's been more like
Mm.
an easy flow. I'm just
Mm.
able to flow in easily. Yeah.
Okay. Now, amongst many industries you could have gotten into, international relations, so first political science and English, international relations,
Yeah.
one would say the closest thing in tech you can get to is project management,
Exactly. Yeah.
or become a manager, or blah blah blah, become a bit of, the liaison
Yeah.
between, tech companies and everything. So maybe more of the soft skill stuff. And
Yeah.
then you choose to do product management.
Product
What
management.
led you into product management? Because even prior, you were talking about AWS and you talk about product
Mm,
management. It's like, what
yeah.
is this girl cooking?
I
What
mean,
is
a lot
Nana
of people
Adjoa
have to.
cooking? There's too much in this,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
too many ingredients. And what? So let's first talk about
Agree.
product management, because I'm sure that is what you identify yourself
Yeah.
as a product
Yeah.
manager,
Yeah.
not as an AWS architect or analyst or whatever it is. What
Right.
led you to zone into product management?
All right. Okay. So, what led me into product management first was my passion to get into the building phase
Mm,
because I wanted to be part, project management. I mean, you're coordinating the teams, but with
mm,
product, you're more like driving the force or driving the
mm,
direction for the product. So I wanted to
mm,
be part of that. And I'd say moving from even in the cloud industry, we have product managers, just people that help to build the product for
mm,
users.
mm,
So I'm still a cloud girl. I mean, I'm
mm,
still at the cloud and all,
mm,
but I'm more of also leveraging the cloud to also build products for people. So the
mm,
reason I got into product is being part of the process, not just being directing the people, being
mm,
involved in this is what is needed. I mean,
mm,
helping the engineering team, design team build what people actually want and not everything. So one thing again that I just to add to that is that
mm,
but you are
mm,
allowed to just fly around everywhere and see
mm,
what really flows with
mm,
you. Because I've been a DevOps
mm.
engineer before, I've been a cloud trainer before, but I started on cloud and product manager because I felt this is what I want to do. Even if it's in the cloud
Wow.
space, this is what I want to do. People feel
Wow.
like if I start with this, I must end with this, but that's not the case. Feel free to
Mm,
reinvent yourself at any point in time.
wow. Hello there, Tech Surfers. I have got some news for you. The Tech Surf podcast is now on Instagram and LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram at the Tech Surf podcast and LinkedIn, the Tech Surf podcast, to stay up to date on new episodes and to get interactive. Don't forget to like, share, and send us feedback on your favorite episodes and the lessons you've learned. See you soon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your daily activity as a product manager. What does that look like? Run us through your daily routine.
Okay, so my daily routine is I work in a startup, so it's
Okay.
very fast paced. So I have my morning stand up usually,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes I had to meet the design team. So that's how it looks. I meet the design team. We have like a design review. We look at what we are building, just progress and how things are going. And then I also meet my engineering team as well, where we get to like have an update, do some
Mm,
testing, usability testing, and all that. I also make sure that I have meetings with stakeholders as well, just to discuss like how we are doing, maybe decisions on how the product should move based on feedback I've had from users and all that. And then I'll also go ahead and have like more like a focus time. Product management, there's a
mm,
lot of documentation. So there's this thing people say that product managers have found in almost every meeting. Trust me,
mm,
that's true. Because
mm,
if you don't take care, you find yourself in every meeting, and by the end of the day, you look and then you don't really have anything down, but there are a lot of things you need to do. So what I
mm,
try to do is at least have about 2 hours of focus time for myself where I do not engage in any meetings, just to have work on my PRDs, create maybe user flows or wireframes for my design team and all that. So it's pretty much really a lot hectic because I'm in a startup and we build so fast. We
mm,
build them
mm,
fast. So there's a lot of pressure, but that's how my day looks like. A lot of meetings and then focus times for doing
mm.
what I have to do. Yeah.
Right. So, how would you say your non-tech background has played a huge role in your current tech
Mm,
career?
right. So I think that my non-tech background, first thing is that it actually pushed me to to learn more because I felt like
Mm,
I'm coming from a non-technical background. So I need to do double the work. That's what I
mm,
always say. Because
mm,
you're going to compete with people that are in the tech field already, right? So it's always been like a motivating factor for me, just moving into that. And then secondly, I'll say my communication because like English, international affairs, you're always communicating. You need
mm,
to find the right words. I mean, diplomacy, you can't just go away and just talk anyhow, right? So that's something that has also helped me, and then teamwork as well. So my journey, my non-technical background, honestly, has like 50% um leverage. I've leveraged
Mm,
on that into my tech field. Yeah.
mm, that is great. Now, you did mention that you coming from a non-technical background means you have to do double the work. Every time people hear about pivoting careers, they have this idea of, oh, it's hard, but she did it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
probably easy and everything. But then sometimes the details, like you said, it was challenging. If
Mm-hmm.
you can walk us through, I know you've already mentioned about your mental health and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but I want us to now zone into product management. What were some of the detailed challenges you were facing when you were transitioning fully into this role?
Yeah. So I think the first thing was lack of resources, or
Mm,
I know you might say that, yeah, a lot of things on YouTube, and that's the challenge, right? You go online, you find a lot of things, and then you're consuming a lot, and finding what you really need to consume becomes very tiring
mm,
on its own. So um that's one thing, the lack of resources. And then secondly was just getting the experience, because in the tech field, people hardly hire people that are enthusiasts, right? You just can't be an enthusiast and they'll say, oh, I want to hire you. You need to build the skills, right? So trying to even build the products, trying to have like projects down that you want to do, meaning
mm,
means you do the extra work. Meaning if I have to sit down after work hours, try to reach out to people on LinkedIn. I mean, I did a lot of things before
mm,
I got to this side, right? But if we
mm,
just talk about the challenges, trying to get people to sometimes even like respond to you, to your emails, just to learn from them was a challenge. Getting the products or the projects that you need to do to be able to land the role was quite challenging, and consuming a lot of things online. I was consuming almost everything, and it was getting me more confused.
mm.
You just consume everything you see on the internet, and that's a real big challenge for everybody moving into tech or even into product management. Yeah.
Mm. So you have been in the product management space for some time. You would think it's not too long, but it is. In
Mm.
fact, I believe if you've done more than 6 months, you've
Mm.
done you've done some time, right? What
Yeah.
are your top yeah? What are your top five skills you think makes one a good product manager? You can maybe do a personal reflection or
Yeah.
maybe on your mentors, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is being a communicator, because teams progress thrive on communication. So I'd
Mm,
say it's, for me, the first thing is being a communicator, communicating what needs to be built to your team is
mm,
important, and
mm,
communicating to your users to understand what they really need is another thing. Also communication. So that's one of the major things that you should be able to have. And also empathy. I mean, we've spoken about
mm,
empathy, understanding them, understanding. You wouldn't want to build something that people won't use. You don't want to build something that people might not have like good access to, or might not see the use. So that's that. And also, I know that sometimes they say that you don't need to be technical to know, like, to be in a products management space, but it would be nice to just have like a nice knowledge of how some things work, right? That's one
mm.
thing that has helped me, I'll
Right.
say, for my cloud space, because I have been able to understand some of the things that are being communicated, even if it's UI, UX. I don't need to design, but if they say something and I can flow with them, it helps me communicate, and then it helps us to move in the right direction, right?
Mm,
So,
mm,
and then research. So I'll say the
mm,
market research, understand the markets and the market trends you are getting into, because you need to build something that will have a competitive edge or a competitive advantage over the other product. You can't just build what everybody is building. What will make somebody
mm,
use your product other than another person's product? That's where you should be
mm,
able to find your catch and then your niche. So yeah,
mm.
did I say 5 or 4? I don't remember, but that's
I th-
yes.
I think you gave five. Maybe you
Oh
have another one in there. I don't know,
well,
floating
I
a
top of
bonus.
on top of my head, maybe nothing, but I'll yeah. I'm continuous learning. I mean, it's a
Okay.
skill. Continuous learning
Mm,
is a skill because there's always something new that you need to learn about.
mm,
Even in this era of AI, generative AI, trust me, product management, you need to be on top of your game
mm,
because you need to understand. Okay, this is the trend. How can we leverage that? How can we
mm,
leverage that into? You don't have to build the AI into the product, but look at the trend and see how you can tweak or build your products to meet
mm.
that space. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you did say you love mentorship, and I'm sure you are a product of mentorship yourself.
Yeah. Very.
Tell me how your mentorship journey has been and how that has affected you to be a better mentor.
Right. Yes. So I'd say I'm a proud member of MentorMesh.
Okay.
It's a mentorship group for young people in tech and all that. For me, um, mentorship, I've learned that mentorship is more of a community thing. It's not just a one-on-one something. That's what my
Mm,
mentor, J. Taylor, taught me. So
mm,
mentorship is people helping you and you helping people. It's a community thing, right? And for me, what helped me was I had to reach out to people on LinkedIn. And the caveat there was one thing I learned was that um, let me tell you a personal story. So I reached
sure.
out to
We
someone.
love personal stories.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember I reached out to one person on LinkedIn and I was like, oh, I read your article and I want you to become my mentor. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I really have time to mentor you, that sort of thing. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, but if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I was like, okay, that's good. So that's why I learned my lesson that people might be scared of the be my mentor sort of thing, right? But this is what I did. I started asking questions. I started like maybe, oh, this is what I've read. How could you help me? This is what I've read. How can you help me? How could you do this and all that? And they kept answering, right? They kept like always answering me, and then they saw the dedication that I had. So if I
Mm,
want to hop on a coffee chat with any of my mentors, they are happy to do that with me because
mm,
they see the effort. People don't
mm.
like it if you're not putting in the effort and then you just come like, oh, be my mentor. I
Right.
mean, it doesn't work
Right.
that way. You get it.
Right.
So that's what I leverage on, and it's helped me a lot. Anytime I'm having a hard time at work, I'll
Mm,
just have to go to LinkedIn. I mean, send them a DM like, oh, this is what is happening, and then they're always willing and always available to help me at every point in time. That's one thing that has helped me in my sort of mentorship. I've had like amazing. I don't have one mentor. Let me just put it that way. Yeah, it's just like a general field. I love mentorship. They've helped me grow. My mentors have always been available to help me in every point
mm,
in time. So what I learn from them is what I'm able to give out.
mm,
What I learn from them is because they make time for me. I try as much as possible that okay, if anybody wants to get into tech or move into a career, I'm able to help. And thankfully, I've had like people that have secured roles. I mean, at least from one or two meetings that we've had with them and
mm,
all that. So mentorship
mm,
is good. Yeah.
mm. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like how you ended. You talked about how you've been able to help people secure roles and mentorship and everything. Based on your little experience, what do you think are some of the barriers that affect people getting into tech, especially coming from a non-tech background?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is learning alone for a long time because
Mm,
that's what I used to do till my mentor mentioned that you need to build in public. You
mm,
need to learn and build in public. You need to learn and build in public because that is what will make people see what you're doing. I can't say that, oh, I'm getting into tech, but the question is what have you done? Do you get
mm,
it? So that's one thing I always try to tell the people I come into contact with that start posting on LinkedIn. I mean, you don't have
mm,
to be perfect. I mean, LinkedIn it's not for perfect people.
mm,
Post, even if it's something you worked on, just post. So I think that's one thing I've helped. I've just told them about building in public, reaching out to people as well.
mm,
Let
mm,
people know you want the job. I know
mm.
that it might be hard and you might feel like, why am I putting
You are
myself
doing
out?
too much.
Exactly. But bro, we are talking about the job. You need a job, right? So get it, get the job.
Mm.
like that,
Mm,
right? So put it out there that you need it. Let people see your skill. Try as much as possible to learn. Invest in learning. Because if you don't invest in learning, nobody is willing to help you and
mm.
nobody is willing to hire you. Yeah.
That is amazing. I know you say you work in a startup, and I don't need details about the work you're doing, but I'm just curious. What any interesting product that you're working on, or anything that you've
Mm,
worked on in the past that you can let
yeah.
us into? Maybe a bit of the tools you use, the process, the timeline, just for someone who's listening to know what it
Yeah.
is like to be a product manager.
Yeah, so I'd say one of my personal projects that always brings me joy was one of the pioneer projects I did for getting into product management was to help build Edu Abroad. It's an education platform where we help people, they help people get scholarships abroad. I mean, apply for scholarships, put on like opportunities abroad for people.
Right.
What I did was that I that project is so dear to me because I had to start from the scratch, right?
Mm,
I had to start from interviewing people, getting to talk to them about what they really want, when it comes to getting to know about scholarships abroad. And then
mm,
you do your market research. You're like, okay, so this person is doing this person is doing it. What can we do differently, right? And then you just went on to, okay, you now understand what you have to do. For that project, we didn't have a UI UX designer, so you could just like create visuals for the engineers to use, and then you from there you do the testing and see how it works, and then maybe that's the MVP. You roll it out, see how it works,
mm,
and then
mm,
you roll it out and do the fix the bugs. I mean, refine the project and then roll it out again. This project, I would say it's one of the projects that I got so much mentorship on because it was a personal project I was working on, and I used to bother my mentors a lot. I don't use the word bother, but yeah, I was always in their DMs like, oh,
right.
okay, so there's a finding. What can I do? I mean, what best can I do and all that? Yeah. So,
Mm, that is amazing. That is amazing. Let's get away from these
mm,
heavy techie conversations, right?
yeah,
You did say that you like to dance, all right? Okay, so
yeah,
let's talk a bit about your creative side away from this
mm,
busy life, this adulting that is adulting. We're
yeah,
all trying to stay
so,
afloat.
so much.
What do you do to unplug? What do you do
Mm,
to, stay afloat and not just be caught
yeah,
up in the busyness of life?
yeah, yeah. So, first thing I'd say is spending time with my family,
Mm,
more like my sisters and my brother, and we just get to talk. I mean, sometimes just talk, you laugh things out, and also spending time with friends.
mm.
Sometimes, I mean, once in a while, at least step out. But most importantly, I love to dance to myself. I mean, in my room, not outside.
Hey,
So,
what kind of dance? What kind of dance? Is it shoki or is it azunto
oh,
or
well,
or
well,
salsa or I don't
yeah.
know?
So the thing is, I've been like, I don't want to say I'm a dancer, but I've been dancing since I could remember. Even
Which
in,
se-
in
which senior high school did you go to?
St. Rose's Senior
Oh,
High.
okay, all right, fair. Were you entertainment perfect?
No, 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 sadly, no, I wasn't. But in university, we had this group called Mass Theatre. I was a dance director for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I love to just, I mean, I feel it just brings me, I'm able to just unwind, and it's like I get into my emotions.
Mm,
For me, it helps a lot. I love
mm.
not like I said, not outside. I mean, inside. When I go
when are
out.
you taking it outside?
Oh, so once in a while I try to take it outside, but my room
Mm.
is the main
Is
base.
the main base. Just you and your mirror and you're good
Yeah,
to
yeah. And
go.
sometimes my sisters and I we just stand
Oh.
away. Yeah,
That
we
is
just
nice.
we
And I
just
think I like what you say because clearly you said even one thing I think I've taken from you this conversation is mentorship is not just like only a one-on-one thing. It's a
definitely.
community thing and
Yeah,
I can see where it's coming from. You have a very
yeah.
good relationship with your sisters, your
Yeah.
brother, so you guys,
We vibe a lot.
have time exactly. And that is good. That is good. I
Yeah,
think the more we grow up, the tendency to become overly caught up in a lot of things. Like today I had a discussion with a very important person in my life
mm,
about some matters, and I realized that you know there's some areas in my life that I'm so zoned on. It's
exactly.
affecting some other areas of my life,
Yeah,
and I used to fight. I was like, oh. But I was like, you know what?
Mm.
Maybe the person is saying something true, because if you don't take care, you'll be so zoned into that area of your life.
Yeah.
All other areas in your life
Yeah.
will be affected, because what is money? All the money we get,
Yeah. If you
and
don't
then
have
and you
family
don't
and
have
relationship.
loneliness. We've
Yeah.
seen it happen several times. People
Yeah.
are rich billionaires and everything. So me, I like a good balance, a bit of cha-ching, so that we can travel together, do
You
all those
know,
kind of stuff,
yeah,
but
that's
also
good.
yeah, but also be very clear on the fact
Mm,
that there are some things that cannot be bought with money, and
yeah,
sometimes you just have to make the time for them.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, so our tech space is evolving so much. Gen
Mm.
AI, this and that. Everyone feels like their job is at at a high
No,
risk.
yeah.
I'm wondering. I don't know how much of. I don't think product managers are going to be replaced by AI. I do not think
Mm.
so.
Well,
It's is, but you never know. Never say never.
yeah, well,
But
well,
how do you stay up to date with all the things that are currently going on in our
yeah.
industry? Do you listen to podcasts, or you watch news, or
Mm.
or I don't know? What do you mostly
So,
do?
yeah, so for news, honestly, I don't think so.
Right.
But like I earlier mentioned, like the tech field is more of a continuous learning field. So that's one thing I also like about the tech field. But for
Mm,
me, I constantly have something I look at, like even in a day,
mm,
try to learn something. It doesn't have to be anything big, but
mm,
just try to learn something. What's new? And usually, I might follow some people on LinkedIn. So when they make
mm,
posts, you try to
mm,
learn them. You try to listen to maybe this YouTube talk, like podcast once in a while.
mm,
But I'm more of maybe let's just watch a video, let's understand what's happening. Maybe let's take a course, a quick course. I don't like long courses; it can be draining.
mm,
Sorry,
mm,
yes, but definitely that's how I stay up to date
mm,
with myself, and I love my company for that because of the career development it provides. You have access to
mm,
courses that you need to do. And one thing that I also do to help me stay ahead is pushing myself to do
mm,
hard things at work because it will push me to go and study that particular thing, right?
mm,
So recently we had to do some cloud related thing and I have cloud background, but I had to go and it was more like intense. So I had to
mm,
sit down and figure it out what we needed
mm.
to do.
Okay. As a woman in tech, it's very obvious that the tech space is male dominated, and things are being done every now and then to, make
Get
it easy for
people.
women to get into tech. There's been a lot of, great groups like Developers in Vogue. You've heard a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them, women in code,
yeah,
or because she can. I've seen a
yeah.
lot of people coming up here and there. What would you say is like you being a woman in tech? How would you say the current space is like, especially in Ghana?
Right. I'll say that in Ghana, um, for Ghana, I think we are getting there. We are not there yet, especially in Ghana, because you find people in tech, that's fine, but I don't know if we are still at the 50-50 ratio.
Mm,
But globally, I'd say that I love the pull from organizations and the push what they're trying to do to get more people or more women into tech. Um, we are getting there. We are not there yet, but
mm,
I think it's good progress so far. Looking at when I even started till now, it's a short time, but you can see that we now have like a lot of people like because she can She Code Africa. I mean,
mm,
these are like
mm,
women centered groups that are
mm,
really pushing the barrier for
mm,
people.
mm, mm. That is amazing. I like to ask my guests this question because it gets them to really reflect
Yeah.
a lot. It's one of my favorite questions, I think, so far.
Okay.
If you could do something differently, looking
Mm.
back on your journey, I
Yeah.
had one guy on my podcast. He says if it was up to him, he wouldn't have read an LLB. He would have just gone straight into product management,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
he pivoted fully from law
It's
into product
good.
management. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like a and he just sees it, and he's like, he's not really using his law for anything. So he
Mm-hmm.
felt like he's wasted time.
Yeah.
But then you realize that he's working in a law firm. as a product. So he's now, so it's like it's beneficial
Yeah,
in the long run. But I don't know about you. What is it? If you had the chance to do something differently, what do you think it would be?
so I think similar to the guy. I've told my friend this before. Maybe it was to get a master's. I feel like if I had a chance to do it again, probably want to get a master's because I'm not downplaying people that have masters, right?
Mm,
I'm looking at what we have in the system and what you go to school to learn and all that. I feel like maybe I could have just gone straight into tech, right?
mm,
Or probably taking my time because I you have that thing that, oh, after you do your national service, oh, you have to do your masters. Like, I think it's a societal thing that I was following, that okay, I'm done with national service, so I must do my masters. I mean, once you have the resources, do your masters and all that. But I feel like if I have the chance again,
mm,
I would be more practical. Let me just put it this way, because I felt like the international affairs, the political science were more of theoretical. So I could
mm,
have been more practical in my learning and my networking. I mean, if I had started proper networking like I'm doing now, I think by now I'll be the next Bill Gates.
oh,
You never know.
hey. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
nan-
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
no limits, no boundaries. When I chanced on your profile, I was looking for people to have on the Pivoting Career series,
Mm,
and I was just using a lot of keywords or something. And then I just chanced on your profile. I was like, okay. Then I look at it, was like, wow, who is this person who has made this very huge jump? And
yeah,
not only are you doing it, you're doing it well. And I don't know you much, but for the little conversation, you before we had this call recording, you said you were shy, but don't
yeah,
say
yeah.
that anywhere again.
I mean, I
Don't
just
say
to
don't say that
relax.
anywhere again.
I
Or
mean,
maybe or maybe I made it quite easy for you to
yeah,
feel
I
at
guess,
home.
I guess, I
Yeah.
guess, I
But
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, take a
But fair enough. But in your last words, your final words, what is the best advice you give to anyone who finds themselves at this crossroad, especially having a background like yours? I'm running this series specifically for a lot of friends who have been messaging me. I
yeah,
want to get into tech. I read linguistics and blah blah blah, and I want to get into tech. What do I do? So this pivoting career series is dedicated to all those questions, so that I stop answering
yeah,
them because I'm tired. But trying to give them a plethora of options to look at people who have done it so that they can listen, take the pointers, and then run with it. So, your final words to someone who is having a similar background like yours and trying to pivot.
right. So I would say the first thing is it's a mindset thing. Okay, so you change your mindset and you go for it. So change your mindset, know what you want to do, because mindset is important. If you're
Mm,
feeling like you can't do it, you get in, and then maybe the first month you just give up. Trust me,
mm,
because it's not easy at all. So change your mindset, and then I'll tell you that
mm,
find mentors early because they help you a lot. Find mentorship early, they help a lot. You can be feeling down, but then sometimes the encouragement you get from your mentor helps. And then the last thing is find people to study with and move with. That's what helped me during my class, because I think we are about 5 people. And what we used to do is that after we are done with the class, we meet up like 11 p.m. or like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m., just trying
mm,
to study together. To find
mm,
people to move with. If you're doing it alone, it will be harder than you
mm,
thought. Try
mm,
to find, you can go on LinkedIn. Hi, I want to learn UI UX design. Who would like to help to be like a study mate? Trust me, you get a lot of people that would want to. So go for what you want and pray hard. Yeah, I forgot it. Pray hard.
mm.
Pray hard and move. Yeah, that's it.
Nana Joa,
Yeah.
you are a great personality. I would have not imagined all this. I was looking forward to today's episode, but it
Yeah.
was way beyond my expectation. Thank
Oh,
you
thank
so
you. Thanks
much.
for making it lively too. Yeah.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. But thank you so much for making the time. And looking forward to the next phase of your career, seeing you ascend. And yeah, when I come to Ghana, it'll be very nice to meet up.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure, anytime. I'll be available.
Perfect. Nana Adjoa openly admits that her transition into tech wasn't easy. Having even faced some mental breakdowns, she reminds us that community is very important and there are shoulders you can lean on. Her story of resilience and determination reminds us that pivoting may not be easy, but it is possible. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Tech Sir Podcast. See you in the next episode.